All right, let's move to First Avenue improvements, IDOT concurrence.
So the first thing we've heard, mostly from, I think it was Matt and Gary, drainage.
Yes.
And Mike, you want to talk to that a little bit, or just update them? I'm looking for
About the drainage, they did say that as part of the First Avenue right turn lane onto the front of the school, they would be putting in drainage. And it would go to somewhere that they choose. They weren't specific on to where that was.
Not a tour base.
Gary asked where you lived. I thought they was going to try to direct it down there, so.
So, we didn't get a specific answer on that, and I don't know if they didn't determine that yet. They were in this planning stage, and I believe there was one person at the state who worked there for a very long time. And there were two other people representing the state, one who was on the job for 2 weeks, and one who was on the job for 2 years, or 2 months, but
Was a consultant.
was a consultant for 30 years or something. So they did bring experience, however, there was only really one person who had been continuously with the state and was in charge of the project.
The only reason I'm raising this is it's nice and dry there right now, but when we have flooding, I don't know if the team that is going to be doing this is aware of the degree of flooding, and I know it's a floodplain, and just to raise that.
They
to-
pointed out on the maps where it floods, when First Avenue floods. So they were aware of flooding.
The biggest thing that was kind of a shock to both of us was that really, like Mike said, it's 2 feet.
Because what they're planning to do is the 4 lanes that are there now are all 12 feet in length, and they're going to width, and they're going to narrow those to 11, so that they're picking up,
Yeah,
the
all
4
I-
feet there, and then
Right. All I ever hear is when they add asphalt, that it has a, there's a multiple impact on the amount of water collection, and in our basement is apt to collect water.
All you're asking for tonight, though, is for our
Yeah, I
approval
know.
to go
But I just,
yeah, all
As
this
you
is
talk
is
to 'em about it.
concurrence, so
That's all, right.
that Mike and I can sit and formally negotiate with them and get
right.
prices for our land acquisition, if they need to purchase land or temporary easements from us, as well as to get a price and hopefully some money from them to move the sign and all that stuff.
Okay,
That's
so-
all. That's all. I
Mike-
just want.
Like the one thing on the drawings, so with the 2 feet, they're gonna make a right turn lane, a right turn arrow, but not a right turn lane, which I think, I don't know why I had that impression, they were gonna put another lane in before.
They're putting a lane
They're
in.
putting in a right turn lane from southbound First Avenue to westbound in front of the high school.
So like our current corner will be reduced by, I don't know, 5 feet or whatever it said, Mike, but the light poles will be moved, the junction, the hydrant, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because it actually will come into our, come off of that corner, and that's where some of that land
If
after
you,
the
if you go
corner.
to board book and you look at the one with the colored yellow stripe and the colored blue stripe and the colored, and I wish the math department was here now, that it's a rectangle with a triangle attached, and it's yellow and it looks like this. Is everyone here? Everyone got that?
Yeah.
What you're looking at is the long stripe of yellow is the land that the Department of Transportation is looking to acquire from the district.
Those of you on iPads can use your fingers to increase it, so you don't.
What page am I on?
You're on page 160, I believe.
Mary Ann's got it up now.
Okay. So the long strip of yellow, I believe, is they're trying to acquire of 1 or 2 feet. And it's .03 acres when you add up all the yellow. But right now, I'm just talking about the yellow strip. That yellow strip will be used
For the curb.
well, that yellow strip will be taken from our property. If you go out there, there's two sets of stakes. There's one set of stakes right near the curb with pink flags on the top. And there's a second set of stakes 5 feet or more in. That would be the new property line. If you go out to those stakes, in front of those stakes are white spray painted dots, approximately a foot to the east. That would be the existing property line. They are looking to acquire, I believe, 1 foot of land on the grass that is that yellow strip. Okay? Then if you look at that, if you go down to where the new curbing is, do you see the new curbing that kind of curves? That curbing is actually only going to come in maybe 2 feet from the existing curbing. So when they say they're going to add a right turn lane, they're not taking a right turn lane's worth of grass and converting it to asphalt. They're only adding, I'm just going to use 2 feet. They're only going to add 2 feet of, move the curbing 2 feet right there. And they're going to soften the traffic flow by making a reduction in the width of the lanes to 11 feet from the 12 feet. Mathematically, I'm not sure how they're getting to exactly putting in this extra lane with those feet.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
Then we have that triangle piece. Now, it appears that the high school's property does not stop to the south of the inner sidewalk. The inner sidewalk plus, let's say, 5 or 6 feet, there's some light poles. That's about where they figured the property line was for the high school. This triangle, which is, a lot of it is cement now. If you, the rectangle at the bottom is pretty much cement now, and some of the other part of the triangle is grass. That and the strip is the .03 acres that they're wanting to acquire. So there would be a price to be negotiated for that, and we'll tell you what they said about that later. The blue is approximately 2 feet or so that they want to lease from us for the time that the construction period takes place. They will put their equipment on there so that they can do whatever they have to do, and they will return the area to the way it was before they started ripping it up for whatever reason. If you look at this diagram, my first question to them was, well, that picture is like 2009 or before. You know, why are they using such an old picture? And they assured us that every one of the markings on there was based on current survey, regardless of what the picture shows, because this picture shows there's no field house. You know, and I asked, well, is the driveway actually there? Because it was there in 2009 or before, but I'm not sure it's there today.
Well, I forgot about the time when we used to park in back of the school.
That's what I
Okay.
said, you guys had parking.
Yeah.
If it's not parking, it's pools, ideally.
So, the next thing I think we talked about was the multiple use path that they're gonna build in as part of this project. And their project has it being built in from Parkview on the south to Ridgewood, and then from Ridgewood along the grass area 5 feet off the turn lane with no barrier.
How far north, Mike?
It's gonna go, if you look at this
Just what it is on
picture,
there.
No, you can't really see it.
if you
Mike,
look
can
at
you?
this picture, it may even go past the end of this picture. If you go out there from the cell tower area and you go to the north, there's a couple of traffic signs out there, and there's some curbing that looks like an old abandoned driveway to the zoo. That's 600 feet from approximately the corner of Ridgewood out north that they're gonna put this path in. The path is going to be 8 feet wide. And it's going to be 5 feet off the back of the curb. And there's going to be no barrier. Okay? So, you know, we kind of thought about, oh, is that safe? You know, but it's going to be 5 feet off the curb from a turn lane, not 5 feet off a curb from the traffic lane. And then as you go farther north and the turn lane moves away, the path is actually going to be like 11 feet off the pavement at that point as you get farther up towards where those trees are, north of the old faculty parking lot.
Okay.
They also said that the path on the south is going to be within their cost. There's going to be a cost to the path running from Ridgewood north, and they're going to be looking for a cost-sharing entity to help fund the material, 20% of the materials there. A couple other things, moving the sign. When we met with the secretary, she said that the Department of Transportation will move the sign. But there's some issues with the land and the sign. It may have to go a little bit to the west, and it might have to go a little bit to the south. And then anything in direct contact with this construction project, such as sewer, electric, telephone lines, any of that, will have to be moved at the utilities expense. So if you go out there, there's telephone poles that are right in the path of this area. They'll have to be moved. They're also going to ask the Village of Riverside to remove the 2 street lights that are on the northeast corner and the southwest corner, because the lights cause too much glare and it's a safety factor. They're also going to do the RSA, which is the road safety audit, and that'll come down and let them know whatever the road safety audit tells them about walking, biking, and driving in this area and the safety concerns. And that'll come out, and they're not worried that that'll cause any major changes to this design. What they want to know for tonight is, can they move forward and the board approve attempting to acquire the area in yellow, which is approximately 0.03 acres, and the majority of it is, you know, right along the curb at the intersection, just south of the existing sidewalk that runs in front of the school. And if you want to walk out there and see how far away from the curb this path will be at the right turn lane, the sidewalk that's on an arc along Ridgewood Road is approximately 6 feet from the back of the curb to the sidewalk. So that's approximately the amount of space from the back of the curb to the multiple use path that they're going to install. That multiple use path will run right along the curbing of the asphalt patch we have back there now, so there won't be any changes to that little parking lot thing that we have, and that'll be on our property still.
Okay, so given that, can we have a motion to have them work with the state on this? Mike, do you want to give a motion on that?
Resolved that the Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois, hereby approves the superintendent to sign the concurrence letter and proceed with negotiations with IDOT on behalf of the district as presented in the October 22, 2013 Board Agenda Packet.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Tim Walsh. Any other discussion? Marianne?
Mr. Jeffson?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
Mr. Gritchen?
Yes.
Ms. Ruska?
Yes.
Mr. Sinning?
Yes. All right, we're going to go into closed session. We're going to hold on.
Visitor comments.
I know, but it says it matters for closed session. We're going to talk about personnel, student discipline, litigation, collective negotiation, and property acquisition or sale. At this point, we have visitors' comments. Anybody want to speak over here? Seeing none, do I have a motion to go to closed session?
Resolved that the Board of Education Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois, enters closed session for the purpose of considering appointment, employment, or dismissal of employees, student discipline issues, collective bargaining issues, litigation, and purchase or sale of land.
Have a second.
Second.
Second by Ed Jepson. Marianne?
Dr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
Mr. Goodson?
Yes.
Ms. Ruska? Yes. Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Singleton?
Yes. All right, it's 10:02. I'd like to start 10:10. Thank you all for coming. Have a good night, everybody that's watching.